When you place images on the screen on your game, those are called sprites. Usually game characters, the player, enemies, collectible elements that you might have are sprites in your game. And you can load the game sprites directly, having a different image file for each one of your monsters or characters, or you can also create a sprite sheet that Quintus can load that contains many of these elements in one single part. So we already used the sprite sheet for the map. In that sprite sheet, I said that all of the elements had to be in an invisible grid, basically. So in this case, it was 21 times 21. So all of the elements were in a box of that size. But when you're working with enemies and game entities, you might want to have them using different sizes. So we're going to move into a different type of sprite sheet now. Let's forget about the tiled map for a moment. And let's look into this file called sprites.png in the folder 02 images. So this file contains many of these monsters and elements. And as you can see, they have different sizes. So for example, this one, it's only, you would only want to select this part for the main character. You don't want to have like a huge block, because when you detect collision, say if we use a block like this, it'll be hovering above the ground, whereas what you want is to be as precise as possible with something like this. So Quintus allows us to load these sprite sheets. So we need to provide two things. One is the image file, in this case sprites.png, and the second thing is a JSON file with information about this sprite sheet, with the metadata. Let's look at that file. So in here, I've defined each one of those game characters or entities. We don't know what they are yet. There could be anything from an enemy to the main player. Basically, what you do is you give them a name, and then you specify the starting point in terms of X and Y. This is measured in pixels. For example, let's look at this example B. So for example, B would be this one. It starts, if you count all the pixels from all the way to here, it starts on pixel 126, and then on 2 from top to bottom. So basically, you start from the counting from 1 and 2, and then you say that it's only one column. The width of the tile is 18, the height is 15, and there's only one frame. If you were working with animations, you can specify many frames for one name in here, basically. So this is how I've defined all of the elements for this game, and now we want to load those in the code. I'm going to start by adding these new files into the loading and the asset loading section. So see how I've separated this by comma and then sprites.json. Quintus knows where to find JSON files. It knows that they're in the data folder, and then it knows that sprites.png it has to be in the images folder. Then you do what's called a sheet compilation. Basically, you're telling the framework that these two things belong together, and that the JSON file contains the information for the sprites.png file. Now, just by doing this, that should be it. Now you can use the names that you have here for your different entities. You can say that a certain sprite uses an image or a sheet of a bee, and it'll show that image, or a player, or power, red alien, any of these. Now, this looks like a lot of work to come up with something like this. You don't want to be counting pixels manually, and that's when you can use the program called texture packer. Let's just find it real quick. Texture packer. It's not a free program. It's not open source. There is a free version which allows you to do basic sprite sheets. I did this one with the free version, and then I had to manually add one of the images. So feel free to check it out, or to search online for other programs that do sprite that allow you to work with Spritesheet. Now, I wasn't able to export the file in the right format, so I exported it as a JSON file, but it wasn't this exact JSON format. So then I just had to manually make it so that it looked like this. It needs to look like this at the end, and then you can just use it.